From Kyle, Texas, it's my dad, Marty Seldom Used Reserve Coleman. And from West Orange, New Jersey, it's Casey the Beef Cregan. I'm Parker Coleman, and it's time for the show you've been waiting for all week, Sluggo.
They never call me Mr. Touchdown, and I could not hit the curve. Just a classical bench warmer, just a seldom used reserve. If I could nail a jump shot, or somehow hit the ball, I could have been a real contender. Not a never was at all. To somehow keep from getting cut, the only role I ever served. Never got to be a starter, just a seldom used reserve.
Okay, Casey, Parker Coleman lied again. You are not in West Orange, New Jersey. I heard a rumor you're at Momo's Bar and Grill live in Stone Harbor, New Jersey.
Oh, wow. You pulled that out of the internet, huh? Yeah, I happened to need my parents for my son this week, my little guy, Slider, as we call him here on the show. They happen to be what we call down the shore. Our guests may know a little bit about that coming up in a second, but we are down the shore in New Jersey and at the beach, as other people around the country say. Having a good time, really, really enjoying it. I'm working, so it's kind of a nice backdrop, but as far as enjoying the beach, I'm not really doing that yet.
Well, this is our second week being introduced by the dulcet tones of Judd Hare and the Ballad of Seldom Used Reserve. And Judd, again, thank you for sharing your gift of songwriting and singing with the folks on Seldom Used Reserve. And Casey, I've neglected to mention it this last 2 weeks, but this is show number 12, and we've passed 12,000 views so far.
That's amazing. Really amazing. It's unbelievable, especially with some of my other show that I do. I don't think hit 12,000 in 2.5 years. So it's pretty awesome. And thanks so much to everybody out there that's liking and following and clicking and watching and whatever you do.
Well, we got a little bit of a built-in advantage here with the folks over on Seldom Used Reserve for this show. But you mentioned your other show, and this is something I've tried to mention or meant to mention the last couple of weeks, and it just slipped my mind because I'm old and feeble. The Chop and Beef Show. Tell the folks a little bit about Chop and Beef and what it's all about.
Sure. Well, it started as my little haven to get my useless banter about college football and college sports in general out there into the ether. And so I grabbed a couple guys, and our dream was to be like the sports college game day, except uncut. So it's a little bit more of an adult conversation, but it's fun. We have a good time. We've kind of gone off the rails the last couple months, I guess, since there's been no college football, but we're enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. Locks like that we had last week is on the show. We got another guy, JJ, adds a lot of fun to it. So it's just a lot of fun. Really, I can't say fun enough, I guess. It's off the rails, but it's enjoyable. I enjoy doing it every week with the guys.
Well, it's a regular download for me now. And speaking of websites that I look at regularly, Turgi, our friend Turgi at the Pit Boss Sauce Company has a new website out. And, of course, it's www.pitbosssauce.com. So everybody out there, please check out Turgi. He's just a good guy. We've kind of connected with him, Casey and I. The only thing we've got out of it is some barbecue sauce, and that's really all we want out of it because it's good stuff, right, Case?
Yeah, it's definitely good stuff. And I just noticed yesterday, just trolling the internet there, that you can order online now. So my credit card's going to take a beating here in the next couple of weeks. I think that stuff really is good. So definitely support him if you get a chance, and you can now buy his sauce online and have it delivered right to your front door.
I think my new motto for Turgi is great sauce and an even better man. So he is a good guy. And speaking of good guys, we are looking for someone to partner with us on this show. A lot of Clemson fans listen to this show, but it's not only Clemson fans. We want to be open to all fan bases. But right now, we're concentrating in that Greenville, South Carolina area. Most of our followers, listeners, viewers, if you have a business in there or a website you want to promote, reach out to us. We'll be glad to talk to you and just partner with you and get your name out in front, name, business, or product in front of thousands of fans each week. Our guest today, Casey, I'm really, really excited and looking forward to talking to this young man. I've got about a 5-minute intro, so bear with me here. This young man is a 2-year letterman at Newton South High in Newton, Massachusetts. He was the number 18 long snapper in the nation ranked number 18 long snapper in the nation by 247sports.com. He attended several camps sponsored by long snapping guru Chris Rubio and was tabbed the top performer on 3 occasions. He received the Newton South Courage Award as a junior. He walked on at Tulane in 2014. On October 3, 2015, he snapped an extra point against University of Central Florida. At this point, you may be asking, okay, he's a long snapper. Well, his story is much more than being a long snapper. He was also a senior year captain at Tulane. He was an NFL free agent, currently a motivational speaker with his own podcast. Welcome in Aaron Golub.
Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate that.
No, thank you for taking the time to join us. Casey reached out, and you guys have had a few texts back and forth. We are so honored to have you, Aaron. And for those who don't know, Aaron is legally blind. And Aaron, if I misspeak, please correct me. You were the first legally blind Division I football player. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Very, very cool. And you have had problems with your sight from birth. Is that also correct?
Yeah. So I was born legally blind, and for me, that means I have no sight at all of my right eye and very limited in my left.
Okay.
Wow. That's incredible. And it's such a great story. And obviously, after you and I started talking, Aaron, I started doing some research on you just to see who I was dealing with. I mean, this is such a great story. And I ran across the first story I did on YouTube, and it was a 6-minute deal that you had at Tulane. And I'm just watching the highlights. I heard the story. I watched it again and again. You got to tell me about there was one highlight in particular. You're long snapping into a net, and there's a little hole up top of the net. And it was at least 2 in a row just went through the net, like it was no problem. And then you looked up like, yeah, what's up? So tell me, how did you get that skill? How did you learn that skill? Is it feel? I know you have sight a little bit in that left eye, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as a golf swing, and in that sense, it's something where if you do it thousands of times, you're going to know how to do it every single time. And so I quickly found out that, I played other positions early in high school, middle school. I was an offensive, defensive lineman, and I found out quickly that wasn't going to be the right fit for me. I mean, sophomore year of high school, I was on junior varsity, and I was like a 3rd string center and defensive tackle. And now you would think that sophomore year of high school, a guy who's going to go play Division I football is probably starting on varsity. That was not my case. And so I basically said, what can I do to start? What can I do to play in college? What can I do to play Division I football? And I found long snapping. I said, if I work really hard and get good enough, then maybe I'll have an opportunity. And from there, I just took it to, a whole nother level. I said, I need to work harder than everyone else. I woke up at 5 a.m. every day, got to school, practiced snapping in the morning before school every day, lifted weights every single day after school, and just did what I had to do to be the hardest working long snapper in the nation so I could have that opportunity.
So I've already learned something here, Aaron. You didn't just start out as a long snapper and said, hey, I'm legally blind. I want to be on the football team. This is my way to contribute. You actually played on the line?
Yeah, through sophomore year of high school. And then I basically said, this isn't working. I'm a 3rd string player on JV. Right. I'm also undersized. I'm not going to be a 300-pound lineman. And I had to find a way to play college football to start on varsity even in high school. And I had to make that pivot, and I found the position that was the right fit for me.
Incredible.
It really is. Another thing that I saw in there, I'm probably going to go all over the place, and I apologize for that, just because we have you for a short period of time, so I want to make sure I get all my questions in. Well, another thing from that particular video, I think it was that video, was the Golub glasses that that a doctor made for you, just so that other folks could see how you are living your life every day. tell the folks out there what exactly they are, and I can probably fill in a little bit what I saw as well.
So when I was younger, my eye doctor made glasses or goggles that would allow others to kind of have a simulation of my vision. So the right eye is completely black and the left eye is a small hole that's probably the size of half of a dime. And that's the whole of my vision. But then even through that, it's not 100% accurate, because you will probably still have your perfect vision through that small hole, but my vision is about 2,200. So what you would see at about 200 feet away, I would see it about 20 feet away. So through that hole, it's kind of even more blurry because you're seeing through your normal vision. And, we would show them to coaches, teachers, friends, just whoever, to get a better understanding. And a lot of my teammates would want to put them on, try and walk around the locker room, catch a football, whatever it may be.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love stories like yours, and I apologize for saying this, but because you don't let that bother you. You didn't let it hinder you. I mean, heck, the name of your podcast is Blind Ambition. It just fits so perfectly to what you are and who you are. And I know you said in that video as well that this is all you've known. So that's a great thing. You didn't let it be a hindrance to you, and that's so respectable and commendable. And I wish I followed you when you were in college, because I would have bought the jersey. I would have stitched the name on the back and everything.
Thank you. I mean, it's one thing that, so many people tell me or tell other people that, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. And the point of it is, if you listen to other people's opinions, then you're never going to accomplish anything, because you're going to be too afraid or too scared to do something. The really biggest thing that allowed me to achieve the success that I had playing football was the fact that I don't care what anyone else thinks. When I was a sophomore in high school, I said I was going to play Division I football. No one else thought I was going to do it, but I put it out there and said I was going to do it. And, 2.5 years later, I did it. It's the same thing I do with everything else in my life right now. I don't care about other people's opinions. I like constructive criticism, but, I know my goals. And if someone doesn't believe in me, that doesn't matter.
I've got a 14-year-old son, and there's a tendency at that age to feel like sometimes the coach is against you, or the refs are against you, or somebody's against you. You didn't reach your goals because of some external individual or force or whatever. Something besides yourself caused you not to reach your goals. For me, you're absolutely a great story, and I don't think he listens to this podcast, but he's going to listen to this one, because you're an example of not caring about what someone else thinks. You're too short or too slow or too this or too that. You just decided you were going to be a college football player, and you became one. Now, I know you're a motivational speaker. Do you speak to kids often?
Yeah. So I speak all over, whether it be companies, sports teams, whether it be college, high school, whatever it may be, events, nonprofits, things of all that nature. It's a lot of fun. I get to inspire and see the impact I have on others. 2020, as bad of a year as it's been, it's been pretty huge for what I've been doing, been able to promote myself, been able to reach out to a lot more people. I'm actually coming out soon, hopefully within the next month, with a partner of mine, with essentially just a program that's coaching high school and college athletes on the mental performance side of the game. And basically the reason behind that is showing people that, the whole philosophy there is, if I can play Division I football, being one of the least athletic kids on my team when I was younger, and then becoming a Division I athlete through putting in work and overcoming all the obstacles, then anyone else can play college sports if they want to. And that's what we're focusing this program on, to basically show people that if you shift your mindset, anything is possible. It doesn't matter what the challenge is.
Aaron, I thought you were impressive before, just talking to you and reading about your story, but that talk right there was had my mouth agape. I don't know if you saw it, but wow, that's just impressive, man. I don't even have the words. I'm going to pass it to Marty here if he has any more questions, because I don't know. It's awesome.
Well, that's the first. Casey doesn't have words, Aaron. So that's an all-time record. Well, please, when you get that up and running, please pass it on to us. We'll be glad to do anything we can to get the word out there.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us a little bit. Now, I also saw on your resume that you were a NFL free agent. Tell us about that.
Yeah. So when I was done playing football my senior year, I didn't want to give it up, and so during the spring semester, semester, I flew out to San Diego for a little bit and trained with legendary kicker John Carney, and worked with him, the other pro long snappers, kickers, and really just got ready for my pro day. Came back to Tulane, did my pro day, did really well actually, and talked to a few teams, and it didn't end up going as quickly or as well as I would have wanted after the fact, even though I snapped really well, lifted really well. There's 32 long snappers in the league, and teams don't like to get rid of them, and it is what it is. And, I found my next passion, and my next passion is, speaking, coaching, helping others. And I've loved the journey that I've been on.
Yeah, it's really a neat point that there are 100 senators, but only 32 long snappers. So that job is actually really, really difficult. I have an affinity for long snappers because my nephew was a long snapper at Lenore Rhine, and I've interviewed a long snapper at Clemson. Really, guys that don't always get a lot of credit for what they do and what they mean in the middle of a game until a snap goes awry, right? It's kind of like a referee. I hope you never hear their name during the game, because usually something has gone wrong. Now,
absolutely.
Did you spend all 4 years at Tulane? I saw you are a captain as a senior.
Yeah, so I went to Tulane my freshman year, and one thing you may or may not know, but after my sophomore season, I played for the first time in October, and 2 months later, my coaching staff got fired. And it was really just starting over again. It was earning the trust of the new staff, because at first they were not sure if I could play. I was not sure if they would work with me. And we basically sat down and we ended up just saying, let's do spring ball. Let's see what happens. If we have to have this conversation again, then we will. And I just proved myself that I could outwork everyone and be a contributing member to that team. And 2 years later, I was named a team captain during my senior year.
That's fantastic. That was what, Willie Fritz came over from Georgia Southern? Was that time of year?
Yeah. And he's an incredible coach and a great mentor to mine now. At first the staff just didn't know, and I can't blame them. They just were unsure with everything with my vision. And he ended up being willing to work with me, and I'm thankful and grateful that he was able to, because it ended up for a great experience.
Now, a lot of the guys too talk about their brothers. When you're in the same room with each other, a lot of times the long snappers, the kickers, the punters hang out together. But tell me about your relationship with everybody inside that room, as they say, and how about going forward? Have you stayed connected with these guys?
Yeah, I mean, you spend time with everyone. Everyone on the team is like your brothers, especially the people who are the same position. So the other kickers, punters, and long snappers I became really close with. I stay in touch with most of them today, especially the ones that I spent most of my time with. And it's just an incredible relationship that you build through, struggle, essentially. These are the guys that you're up at 6 a.m. running sprints with, or in the weight room, or whatever it may be. And you bond over that. And it's incredible relationships that you forge through it.
Now, did you went through the regular drills as everybody else? And I don't, feel free to tell me I'm nuts, but you ran with everybody else. I saw the video of you lifting weights. So you were just another member of the team, even despite your limited sight.
Exactly. And one of the things that honestly I'm really proud of, and my strength coach would always yell at other guys because of this, is, I understand some of my limits, in the sense of, when we're doing hurdles, I would go slower because we're trying not to knock over the hurdles. And so I know that I need to go slower and see them. Or like when we're doing sprints and we touch the line, I know when I'm approaching, I need to slow down a little bit so I can make sure I touch the line. I never knocked over a hurdle. I never missed a line. And my strength coaches would yell at everyone else, because they said, if Aaron doesn't knock over hurdles and touches the line every time, why are you guys missing all of these and knocking them over? And, it's just because I cared. It's because I knew if I wanted to touch that line and not make a mistake, I had to take 5% off my sprint so I could touch it, and then sprint faster and then slow down a tiny bit. And it's just the little things like that is what I had to do.
And I would also imagine your concentration was at a higher level than your average player, athlete.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Just incredible. Wow. I love stories like yours. I think I've said that 6 times. just because you don't let a disability ruin your innate ability to perform. That's who you are. It is what you are. And it's not a label. I'm sure you're walking through life now and you're not wearing a sign that says, hey, look at me, I'm legally blind. You're just living your life. And it's so respectable and so commendable. And I love your story. And I don't know, you need an SB or something, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, the other thing is that sometimes, and I'm guilty of this as anybody, we take things for granted, or we think we've had a bad day. Like I mentioned about my son sometimes, oh, the coach didn't like me, or, the referee doesn't like me. When you hear stories like yours, when I hear stories like yours, it makes me realize how lucky I am and how you should not take things for granted. Something as simple as your eyesight, for example. But more than that, giving it your all every day and everything you do. You're a great example.
Yeah. I mean, look, you need to be able to think of things in life happening for you and not to you. And by that, I mean, if you think of things in life happening to you, if you think that, oh, I'm too short, oh, I'm too small, oh, I'm legally blind, you're thinking of yourself as a victim and you're already setting yourself back. If you think of things happening for you, oh, I'm legally blind for a reason. This happened for me because I can pave the way for others. I can help other people. I'm too small for a reason because I get to outwork everyone else and prove myself. Think of every obstacle having for you, and life just becomes so much happier and better. And really things do happen for you and not to you in the world.
Great. Absolutely. That is a great way to look at things. Now, Casey mentioned earlier, you have a podcast of your own. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I think about 5 or 6 weeks ago at this point, started my own podcast. It's called Blind Ambition on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, really all the platforms. But the whole point of it was, I go on a bunch of podcasts like this just to share my story. And, my favorite part is just networking with other people and building strong relationships. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to start my own just so I could bring in, whether it be people that I'm already close with or new relationships that I'm building, just to tell their stories and network through them and use it to help me with my speaking and develop everything as well.
We will definitely put a link in the show notes. As a matter of fact, I think the name of this episode, if you don't mind me borrowing your title, will be Blind Ambition.
Definitely. That completely works.
Okay.
New episode of Aaron's podcast, Blind Ambition with Aaron Golub, is dropped, I guess, today or yesterday. And it's setting yourself up for success with Dr. David Sapala. So check it out. I started listening to it myself and plan on finishing it when we're done here tonight.
Thank you.
And I'll certainly begin listening, and as soon as we get off also. Aaron, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us. We know you're busy, a lot of stuff going on in your life, but thank you for spending a few minutes with us and teaching us a lot of lessons.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to staying in touch with both of you.
Absolutely.
I was just going to say the same thing, Aaron. I'm going to definitely be reaching out to you again and again. So thanks again. Really do appreciate you reaching out to me.
Of course. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Aaron.
You too.
Wow, Casey. I don't know. It'll be a while before we can top that one, if ever.
Wow, man. You said it best. I am not at a loss for words very often. And, I didn't know what to say. I really didn't have any idea what to say because the guy is just so impressive. His story's fantastic. I love those. I was going to say redemption stories. It's not a redemption story. It's how he lives, man. And he didn't let it. There's too many others I guess not others in this world that allow that to hinder people. And it's guys like him and the guy that was the long snapper at USC that was completely blind, I believe, that got way more pub than Aaron has, but still is as inspiring. It's guys that work hard. You could tell in his voice and in his conversation how hard he worked and how much he loved football. And he told people, and I should have asked him, but he told people as a sophomore on JV that he was going to be a Division I athlete, and then was. I love that stuff, man.
Well, here's the thing for me. It's there's many things in that conversation, but one of the things that stuck with me the most, and I brought it up, and I was kind of, like you said, my jaw was kind of wide open. I'm sitting here going, he didn't just go out there and say, hey, I'm going to be the long snapper and nobody's going to hit me on these snaps and I'm going to sit there and learn how to snap. He played on the line. What? I mean, it's just I know my nephew was fully sighted. and he snapped for Lenore Ryan. And I knew how much work he put into it. So I cannot imagine the hours that Aaron put into that. And hurdles? What?
I never hit one. I was like, my mind was blown. I can't wait to have him back because I know I just completely butchered that interview. Thank you for being here so that you were able to fix me, because I was just like Chris Farley back in the day on SNL. You remember that time in that video? So I was blowing smoke, but I mean every word, man. It was just he's such an impressive guy. I did not expect him to be as impressive as he was tonight in that short conversation as when we were just texting back and forth to get this thing set up.
Well, that guy is polished, man. He knows his stuff. He's going to go places in this world. Motivational speaker. Like I said, I wanted to sit Parker right here beside me and let him listen to this guy. Parker's a great kid. I mentioned 3 times. I think it's pretty natural for any teenager to have some feeling of, why me? Why did this happen to me? This is, I can't overcome this, whatever it is, insignificant thing. But he's a great kid. But if he can see somebody like Aaron and what he's been through and what he's made of himself, it would just be an incredible, incredible life lesson.
Think about it for even you and I. I'll talk for myself. I still say stuff today.
Absolutely.
Still something at work today that I was like, well, I don't know. I guess my day is just not a good day. You know what? He just lit a fire under my tail. And, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it different.
You're going to be selling a whole bunch tomorrow. All right. Now let's get back to the two giant chuckleheads talking college football here. Hey, over the last couple of weeks, I've been checking out this QB1 on Beyond the Lights on Netflix. And I started following it because DJ's on there, right? DJU. I still can't see how they pronounce his name the way they do, the way it's spelled, so I'll just call him DJU with apologies to him and his family. But it was a 2017 season, and Real Mitchell was actually the starting quarterback. But let me back up a little bit. This season followed Real Mitchell and / DJ, because he eventually took over, Justin Fields, and Sam Hartman, who ended up at Wake Forest. Now, the big picture about this show, what I took away from it is they don't do a very good job of showing how good these guys are, right? They're showing a lot of the failures and struggles, which I guess, is part of the show. It's Beyond the Lights. But Real Mitchell got benched. And I thought, well, they haven't shown very many highlights. How could the guy be? Well, the year before he had 4,000 yards. That's how good he was, right? He's a little bit on the smaller side. He went to Iowa State and transferred recently to Temple. But DJ was the man even then, right? So Clemson fans got a lot to look forward to. Check out QB1. Justin Fields was on there. And I know he was great in high school, and they showed some great plays, but I was expecting him to run over people, and every game would be 65-0, and it just wasn't like that. Sam Hartman was at like a Oceanside Academy in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and he was playing with a bunch of kids who lost every game the year before 60-0. It was just not what I was expecting. DJU's and Real Mitchell's team was a powerhouse, and Justin Fields' team lost a couple games, but it just wasn't what I expected. Then I continued on to the 2018 version of this. Your boy Spencer Rattler was on there, and this watching this has changed my mind on him a little bit. There's a little bit of Baker Mayfield in that dude. He got suspended right after homecoming for the rest of the year, and he appeared to be lying to his teammates about why he got suspended, saying he had a MCL sprain or something. So there's Nick Scalzo, who ended up at Kentucky, and Lance, I'm not sure how you say the name. It's a Cajun name, Legendre, I think, ended up at Maryland after he was all over the map, Kansas and Florida State, ended up at Maryland. So we'll see how those guys work out. But I just thought, I don't know the intent of the show. I thought it was to show superstar high school quarterbacks, but they don't really show a lot of highlights. There are some, but I think they're focused more on their struggles on and off the field and the feel-good stuff versus the 5,000 yards passing.
Yeah, I haven't gotten involved in it too much. I've been tempted many times, and right when I'm tempted, Last Chance U comes out on Netflix, so I get caught up in that fantastic show and the drama that is that. I love that part of it, but I will check it out. I know Nick Scalzo, as you mentioned, in 2018, he got hurt during the show, I believe, and then got hurt again at Kentucky. Apparently he's ready to go for them. They didn't have a quarterback last year. They were playing a wide receiver at quarterback in their bowl game. And then Lance Lejeune was at Maryland. He got hurt also against Nebraska last year. He's a New Orleans kid. I know Scalzo was at Cardinal Gibbons in Fort Lauderdale, which is another factory down there, along with St. Thomas Aquinas. So, yeah, I want to watch the show. I just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. But if DJU's on from 2017, I might have to check that out.
Well, Rattler was when I first started watching it, he was the one that stuck out to me. Now, I know they're all good. Obviously, Justin Fields had 50 touchdown passes last year. He was great. But he's the one that stood out in high school. And I thought, man, I'm gonna give Casey heck about this. This guy's going to tear up, with Lincoln Riley, that genius Lincoln Riley, quarterback developer. He's going to tear up the Big 12. And as the show went on, he became less and less likable. And I thought, by the end of it, I'm going, well, no wonder he's going to Oklahoma, right?
Well, I don't know much about him personally, so I never said he was going to be bad. I didn't say any one of their quarterbacks was bad, but he's part of a system now, so he's going to throw for 85,000 yards in his first game against Texas Tech. And
I'll still say, system, smistem. You can put Johnny Unitas at Army, and he's not throwing for 3,000 yards.
Yeah.
All right. A lot of stuff this week. We have to talk about it. COVID testing. Now, when this first came out, I thought, here we go. They're saying this is part of the reason the Big Ten and the Pac-12 caved, right? Because, oh, my God, it's causing heart problems too, and somebody could die. And that may be true. Again, not a doctor. Know nothing about doctoring or science for that matter in general. But it's starting to come out now that the COVID testing is helping these kids find out that they have heart issues. Max Duggan at TCU discovered a heart abnormality only because of the COVID testing. So we try and find some of the good news on this show. And if anything good comes out of this mess of 2020, it's that these kids, we've heard that also, right? They're better off at school. They're better off in their in that environment at school and with the team. And this is at least one example where that's absolutely true.
Yeah, and I know Amari Rogers from Clemson was saying he's not worried about the students coming on campus, but it is good that they are getting tested. And we've had far too many over the past few years, kids collapsing and passing away on the football field in the summer or even during the season. And then it comes out later that they had a heart arrhythmia or whatever it is, enlarged heart, as Gaines Adams passed away years ago. It just stinks. But so that is a positive that's coming out from it. It stinks that these kids are going to probably have to not play football anymore or sit out a year. It stinks for that aspect of it. But it is good. It's better to catch it now, right? So down the line, they're not going to have the issues that they have, or even, God forbid, passing away on the football field.
Hey, no doubt about that. Now, Casey, have you taken your medication yet? Because the AP poll came out, and there are a few teams in there that you might not approve of.
Thank God for Nelson Wilhite on our discussion forum. He deserves a call out because he's one of our most loyal followers, along with JP Priester and many, many others. But thank God for him to spit a little bit of reality into our game, because my head nearly exploded the other day. And when this AP poll initially came out, I was listening to a radio show, happened to be on the road for work, which was different, and they didn't understand that the teams were going to drop off after the first weeks were played. I didn't understand it either. So they literally had a conversation that, let's say the Helter Skelter takes place and there's not one team that's undefeated from any one of those teams that are actually playing. You could get Ohio State and Penn State being ranked 1 and 2, and God only knows those blue bloods love to claim national titles. I think 6 of Ohio State's are quote unquote, it's not 6, but anyway, it's 4, I think. Alabama loves to do that too. But could you imagine? It'd be like UCF in 2017 all over again. Shots fired, UCF fans. Ohio State would claim a national championship without playing a game. My head was nearly exploded, but I happened to read Nelson's comment that they're going to drop off after week 2. I don't know why they're there now, but I'm staring at the screen behind the phone here.
Nelson is one of 888 individuals in our Facebook college football group. You can be number 889, whoever's listening to this. I'll talk about, should 10-0 Clemson be number 1 or 2-0 Alabama? Which is going to make for some interesting debates this year. I even mentioned earlier, I said that word. I even mentioned earlier that earlier on the board, as a matter of fact, it's going to be really weird looking up in October the 2nd or whatever, early October, and Clemson being 2-0. That's just, I don't know. It's just weird. It's that kind of year, right? 2 games in the middle of October. What?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just insanity, and we still don't know. And that's like this whole fear of the unknown thing. We don't know how it's going to play out. There was a game in the ACC. NC State was involved because they had a breakout. Now their game's being pushed back a couple weeks. So it's just, Texas Tech had 21 positive tests, and they're still practicing. So, I'm wearing my Texas Tech shirt tonight for everybody to see. We just don't know. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, 21 positive tests, and they're still practicing. I guess they like high scoring, whether it's COVID or on the scoreboard or what. That was a bizarre one for me also. Hey, I plugged earlier, I was talking about if anybody out there wants to partner with this great new podcast, video cast, reach out to us. We're happy to work with you. If you got a business, a website, whatever you want to promote, just reach out to us and let's have a discussion. But there's another way that people can help us, Casey, because we want to add a few bells and whistles, like one bell. We want to do a live show. That's not free. There's also expenses for just doing it the way we're doing it now. We're not complaining. We love what we're doing. We're having a good time talking to each other each Wednesday night and getting it up on Thursday, but we'd like to make some improvements. You want to help us out there? Teespring. Teespring has Sluggo t-shirts and various other paraphernalia. We'll put a link in the show notes. I'll put it on the Facebook page also. So we get a couple $2 from every sale, and we've had one sale so far, and he is right over there at Momo's Bar and Grill.
Yep. I had to get one for my boy. So he's pimping a shirt now here in Stone Harbor, New Jersey. I did bring it down. He wore it. It was like wearing the concert T-shirt to the concert. He wore it all day today around town, promoting his dad's podcast. But I see the shirt you got on too. It's a nice. We got different styles, different colors. It's great, man, and they're really not that expensive. And like Marty said, we get a couple bucks, and we're certainly not quitting our jobs over this. It's going to help us be able to bring you more content, more reaction right after the show. Hopefully, we'll get audience participation as well if we can figure that part out of it. We certainly want that. Especially, I want people to call in, tell me how crazy I am with my picks and my selections and the like. So, yeah. Help us out. Enjoy it. It's great quality shirts as well. And teespring.com.
Yeah. And you are looking live. Well, you won't be looking live when it gets put up, but live. You're looking live now at the guy that picked Texas A&M, not only to win the SEC West, but to win the SEC. And this was 2 minutes after he railed on to being ranked number 5 in the preseason.
That's right. Absolutely. Long, what is it? Kellen Mond for Heisman.
Kellen Mond for Heisman when they're down 27-15. Hey, Casey, it was a great show tonight. I'm still mesmerized by our discussion with Aaron. And as I said, the name of this episode is going to be Blind Ambition in his honor. What a great guy. Thank you for getting him as a guest. It was really a fantastic conversation.
You know, it's great that he reached out to me. It happened to be blind luck, for lack of a better phrase, that he reached out to me and just trying to network. Like he said, he wants to network with different types of folks. He wants to get his name out there. I'm honored and thankful that as a motivational speaker, those guys aren't free. And he offered his services and his conversation and his story to us for free. And we can't thank him enough because it was awesome and mind altering, if you will.
Blind Ambition is his podcast. I've posted a link to one of his YouTube videos. It actually shows him long snapping and into the net, the little hole in the net that Casey was talking about. Fantastic video. Fantastic guy. I posted that in our Facebook group. A fantastic video and just an A1 class guy. Thank you so much, Casey, for your time tonight, and have producer Amy take us out.
Thank you, sir. Producer Amy, how'd we do tonight?
I think that sounds pretty good.